Good evening, people. Welcome to Code Talk. I'm your host, Victor Vinziant, with the Accountable Masculinity Platform. And I'm your host. Hang on a second. Vinziant. Yeah, working out some mic issues. What's going on, folks? Hey, if you tuned in, just go ahead and leave some comments and let's get active. So today, um, I was thinking about a topic earlier before I woke up this morning. Before I went to bed last night. Then I woke up this morning to, the same news that everybody else has gotten, about the passing of Quavo, you know, not Quavo, I'm sorry, Takeoff. And, it's been getting a lot of reactions here and there. What's going on, Chris? What's up, brother? Yeah, I've been getting a lot of reactions, people just asking my take on it and stuff. And, I just got a few different questions that, we'll table tonight. I'd rather have an open discussion, you know, because it was so random and one off. It's just difficult to kind of process. And I know some people gonna be like, "Oh, I was a celebrity, it was this, it was that." No, it's a little bit more than that. It represents, um, a fork in the road, man. You know what I'm saying? We got to be tired at some point. So, and I just want to know when we gonna get tired. So I'm gonna let y'all, hang out with me for a little bit. Chris, what's going on, man? If you're able to come on, you more than welcome to. Let's see. I'm gonna drop um, the share over here in the comments. Come on the show. Yeah, man. I woke up to this news like a lot of people did, and it's just strange after a while that we keep like we boxed into just being witnesses to tragedy and trauma. So I wrestle with trying to figure out the direction of where you want to go to and how you want to pursue it and what's the safest way to get there. And every day, you get something that lets you know it's never straightforward. And today was no different. It's a few people that's interested in jumping on or whatever. But I got to thinking about it and just start thinking about all the little random posts that I probably put up today. It was really pertaining to this situation, pertaining to the death of Takeoff, who was killed in Houston, at a dice game. That's how it's reduced, but that's really what it comes down to. And I think I take this time to kind of like explain some of my posts that you may have seen or some of the questions I asked. I kind of just use my page as a rolling blog, and I talked a lot today about just getting old and both and just text with a few of my friends that I've yet to be able to sit down face to face with for various reasons, time and schedule, whatever. And I'm 43, and it's a lot of us is just uh, dying young, especially post COVID, during COVID. Things are different. I don't even remember what 2019 was like. Like it went by so quick. And then I just got to thinking about how time flies, and then um, how you take every day for granted sometimes. It's human nature, or the you realize you're taking it for granted when you have a moment where you get upset about something, you know, and when you get upset about it, you really realize you got first world problems, and you kind of come back to your senses. Well, at least that's my thought process of how I think. but everybody doesn't process or grieve the same way, you know. And since Takeoff was killed last night around between the hours of like 2 and 3 a.m. down in Houston, um, you know, a lot of people been expressing their emotions in different ways. And yeah, I get it. It's a lot of people that don't have a true emotional connection with the individual, but to see a 28-year-old man lose his life way too soon, right when he was about to, you know, actually take off and get the credit that he had earned in the game, and you know, it's kind of disheartening sometimes, you know, and it's kind of foolish to pretend that um, you know you're not impacted by it in some kind of way, because even if it's not you directly, it's somebody that you know, somebody that kind of fits that same space. So, but I'm interested in hearing from everyone else. So, uh, John, you ready to come on? There you go. What's up, bro?
What's going on, King?
Hey, man, what's up with it? How you doing?
Look, chilling, man. Just kind of taking all of it in. Been watching all day, kind of seeing what was going on, what was being said. It's a,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
a another sad loss for another young man. It kind of it put me in the mind of when Nipsey Hussle got killed, but it's not as I don't think it's as big because he wasn't as connected to the streets as Nipsey was, but it's still a major loss to the industry as well as to the community.
yeah. I get that too, but I think, you know, like, first and foremost, it's a huge hit on his own family. You know what I'm saying? And and for him to be victim to, you know what I'm saying, his own crew's negligence, based on the screenshots and information that's been floating around. The first shot that hit him came from a man out of his own camp. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, man. Look, when they tell you be your own people, they're not playing.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
And
It's
whether it was unintended consequence or whatever, it was unnecessary.
yeah. I mean, it's like some of the things that we've discussed before about um, you gotta. I'm not gonna say that you necessarily got to change your surroundings, but at the same time, you do have to change your surroundings when you get to a certain level, because you got to understand that everybody don't have your best interests at heart. So you got to look out for numero uno. In his situation, he was an innocent bystander. Based, like you said, based on the text messages, that the screenshots, everything that we've seen, he was just an innocent bystander that was just there. So, in so many ways, you do have to change your surroundings. We'll never know. I don't think we'll ever know the whole truth or everything that happened in that situation, what it was truly about. They'll never actually give us all of the information, but what's out there so far, it's a it's an innocent bystander that was murdered, basically, like you said, off of people's negligence. And it, like you said, it be your own people. It's too many times that that's happened with people. It be your own folks that take you out. That's sad that that's even a saying.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, you know, and if some things like are heard differently when spoken versus seen when they've been written, and, you know, like when we get a chance to, um, well, under the unfortunate circumstance in this one, we have nothing but speculation from where we sit about, you know, what took place, but I want to make sure that we keep the discussion trained on the information that we got available,
Yeah.
because you know a lot of people, they'll create a rumor,
Oh
they'll
yeah.
create, you know what I'm saying, any type of narrative necessary, and I just want to have a discussion where it can be kind of not kind of, but like really just transparent, man, you know what I'm saying, because like, yeah, you can sit back and you can take whatever approach you want to take. I saw somebody say, "Oh man, it's just life," and I saw people say, "You reap what you sow." I saw people say all types of just, you know, like one, you know what I'm saying, just a unilateral view. But you know, the reality is everybody's entitled to think however they think, because they can only compare themselves to something that they can either relate to or not. You know what I'm saying? So, but by virtue of the fact that people communicating about it lets you know the impact of the the individual, and And um, I guess just the public disapproval of the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? Because it's one thing. Yeah, I'd argue that a lot of us have been truly desensitized to a lot of stuff, and we don't have the energy in some cases. But these are things that I wanted to discuss. You know what I'm saying, in plain view, more than just write, because sometimes when I write, I understand like if you got to explain more to get the reader to see your point of view or perspective. But then, and I think that when you have to write too much, it's time to talk. Um, we've been writing, we've been talking, and I get it, but this one just felt a little bit different because it happened. I think everybody woke up to the same thing. Everybody woke up on the wrong side of the bed today. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Everybody woke up to the same bad news. It wasn't like, like you was doing something on your normal routine in a happy mood, and then somebody said, hey, or it may have been the case, depending on, what I'm saying, what point of your day you were in, because some people might have worked overnight, saw it on the way home. But either way, at some point today, you were impacted by the information, you know what I'm saying, that came out, whether it be directly as a fan, directly as a spectator, or just out of just genuine human empathy.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know what the discussion is going forward about um, the cultural impact rap music has had, or the influence and stuff like that. I think it's always been at a crossroad, because it's just the nature of it. You know what I'm saying? The nature of the beast. It's always going to be at a crossroad. But what are we extracting?
For me, reading the things that I've read, seeing the things I've seen, I did kind of. I stepped away from Facebook because I kept seeing so many different things and people's opinion. I'm not a sensitive person. And like you said, we've been desensitized based on the things that we've gone through, and everybody's different. Everybody's been desensitized in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Mine has been dealing with my own personal the deaths that I've dealt with. So it was sad to see, but then at the same time, it was almost like, damn, it's another one. But I got off of social media today because I saw so many ignorant statements being made about the situation. Why is a millionaire shooting dice? And I saw something that was kind of hit home. You can be a millionaire and you can still be a regular person, do regular things. Shooting
Yeah,
dice is not something that's beneath anybody. I mean, if you grew up in a neighborhood where that was something that was being done, or if you, I guess as they say, hood, and you were born in the hood and you saw people shooting dice, that's something normal for you. So it's not going to be abnormal when you get to a certain status and you're a millionaire and you shooting dice. So I can't say that situation is what caused it, because if you've ever been in a dice game or been around a dice game, you know what goes on. It can be
yeah,
volatile situation. But in this instance, it's sad to say that a life was lost because of negligence or him just being there. It's maybe the for me, my personal opinion is maybe we need to look at things from a different standpoint as to what we do once we get to a certain level. And I'm not gonna say that you got to stop being a regular person, but you still be a regular person, but do it in a way that's safe for you and everybody around you. For me, if I get to millionaire status, continuing to be a regular person is gonna be something like this, trying to have these discussions more with people that I can help.
word. I'm gonna bring Chris on real quick, and I'm gonna ask a couple questions, because I like to have a solutions based, what I'm saying, conversation, because we spent too much time identifying problems, what I'm saying, without bringing solutions to the discussion. So, and it's been a lot of information just going back and forth the way it's being exchanged with social media. Like you said, you have to get off of it for a second. Between this news, the only thing that disrupted it before was, what I'm saying, Kanye's interview and everything else, you know what I'm saying? And I pay more attention to the response of people from the actual events than I do the actual people that experienced it, well, that are part of the event. Because it's what we do with the event afterwards that determines the equity that we allowed to have. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you're right. You got to change the way you move and be situationally aware at all times, and and yeah, I get it. But I think we spend a lot of time investing in a lot of cognitive dissonance too. We try to pretend that it was just music. We try to pretend it was just, what I'm saying, a scene, this, that, and the other. But the older we get, the more emotionally intelligent we become. Our vibes change off the wrong person walking in the room sometimes. So how dare we give ourselves that much credit and being able to sense the energy in the room, and then dismiss it all together when it comes down to music, when you learn how to sing your ABCs to notes. You see what I'm saying? So like we can't have it both ways anymore. So when it comes down to how you move, knowing that you can't have it both ways and having plenty of examples, man, we had a lot of rappers die this year, and just this year, not even thinking about like this time, what, last year, didn't Dolph get killed in November last year?
I, hell, I thought that was this year he got killed.
I thought he got killed in November last year or something like that.
You know,
But
that's crazy that
yeah,
rappers are dying in succession to the point where we can't even tell what the timeline is because it's so back to back to back to back.
bro, like
Yeah.
culturally speaking, I've always said this. Um, there's a race of people out there that have a school shooting problem, and we have our entertainers shooting a problem. You know what I'm saying? We have our own mass shooting situation to worry about, and I got to call it what it is. You know what I'm saying? Because if we demanded for what I'm saying, greater government and three-letter agencies to get more involved in stopping these mass shootings and stuff like that, right? Well, we need to take the same energy into our own backyard as well, because they're not responsible for what we do to each other. Like, yeah, you can come up with this super tall, unrealistic, echelons above reality concept. People living 60,000 feet above reality and saying all they need to do is this. But here at the local level, the regional level, and the national level, we're able to organize off just a click of a hyperlink. You know what I'm saying? And figure out what conversation we need to have that are important. And I think that in that mix, you learn a lot more about conflict resolution and recognizing who is capable of resolving a conflict. And then the more you start asking these constructive questions, you see less and less people having the emotional intelligence to do so, to solve or prevent something from happening. So if we're going to identify the problem, which we already have, let's have a more in-depth discussion about the way forward, and how do we learn from this again. Unfortunately, Chris, what you got, fam?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know. And this is me being honest. I genuinely do not know. I don't know what we can do besides reshape the culture as it is, because I think this is a cultural thing in our community, quote unquote. You know what I'm saying? It's something that it's something that we're glorifying now.
It's normalized.
Yeah, like
Yeah, I think
it's not
normalize is a better
normal.
word. I
Yeah,
don't know if do you think glorify is a buzzword that we've run its course with?
I gen but that's the only way I can describe what's really happening. Like
Yeah.
I can't think of another word. And to say that it's normalized, kind of, sort of,
You see what I'm saying? Like there's like no
I don't,
word.
right. And I don't want to say normalized because this isn't normal. There's nothing normal about this. There's nothing normal about taking somebody's life at a dice game or at a Waffle House or in front of you know what I'm saying, in front of their shopping complex. There's nothing normal about that. And I don't want to say that it shouldn't be. There's We shouldn't be this numb to this because we're starting to see it too often, and then it's like, oh, there's another one, there's another one, there's another one. And it's like, What do we do? I genuinely don't know. And I don't want to give any type of pseudo intellectual, pseudo moralistic answer on this wide scale issue.
It's a big scale issue.
Right. And I don't want to do that. You understand what I'm saying? I would, and you had it
This
right. I would rather group with a couple of minds that can actually think to figure this out, because this is something that needs to be figured out.
this is one of those situations where it's this. There's no easy solution to this. There
No,
is. We've been. It's the sad thing, and I hate to say it as well, but it's just. I feel like it's being blunt to say it like this. It's being normalized because we don't care. That's the only thing that I can see, because we only care about folks until they gone. You know, look
yeah,
at look at how praised Nipsey Hussle was. Look at how praised Dolph was. Everybody became huge fans after they got killed. But where was that praise when they were here? I saw a post not too long ago that said, "Give me my flowers while I'm here. Don't wait till I'm gone." And I've seen that so many times in the last few years that it's ridiculous, because we love people when they gone, but we don't love them when they here. You know, everybody. It was sad to see this as well. I saw people getting criticized because they were trying to make it like, oh, I was a fan before they died. Now you just a fan just because they died. It to me, it doesn't matter if you're a fan or not before they died. The problem is, stop being a huge fan when they die. You know, we shouldn't show love just because they're gone. We should be showing love while they're here, and that's what's being normalized. That's the sad thing. We don't care about people until they gone. We don't show love or we don't support them until they gone. And it's just like us being black men in business for ourselves. It's not popular until it's popular to show us support. We don't get the support that we deserve. So it's not an easy solution to this. It's going to be something that has to be ongoing. That it has to come from.
it's got to come from us. It can't come from
Yeah.
nowhere else.
Well, what I was
Like,
gonna say is it's got to come from people that's not famous as well as people that's famous, because
yeah,
it's not people aren't going to pay it any attention when it comes from just us. But if somebody famous says it, then it becomes a solution, and that's sad as well. But it's the reality of it. People don't pay any attention until somebody popular says
I'm glad you said that, because I was thinking the same thing. Somebody popular is going to have to make it cool for us to care about each other again.
"Oh yeah, most definitely."
Somebody popular is going to
It's
have to make it cool for us to understand that everybody ain't gonna have the top spot, and you should be happy for the person that got it, because he pretty much got it. You understand what I'm saying?
oh yeah.
Somebody big, somebody famous, somebody known has to make it cool for us to give a shit again.
I'll say this: platforms like this are important simply because this is how it starts. The the sad thing about it is there have been multiple platforms where things like this were being discussed, but it no longer became about solutions. It became about the popularity of the platform. It became
yeah,
about what we can talk about what's hot right now instead of talking about solutions to problems that are everyday problems. I've been a part of uh I was a part of a live that was on every week for a long time, and I mean it was great. I ain't even gonna say what the name of it anymore because they don't use it anymore. But it was great, and it was actually reaching people, and that was how I got into the business that I'm in. But it became more about the name and the popularity that it had than actually continuing to create solutions and continuing to help people find the help that they need. When we have platforms like this that we can use to reach people and actually help people, it has to continue that. This is the beginning. This is every show that's done when we talk about solutions to problems, whether we actually get a definitive solution or not. It's the beginning. Somebody's gonna look back on this video and be like, okay, so this is where they started. This is how it starts. But we got to be willing to continue to work in this direction of trying to find a solution, even though it's not going to be an easy road. I can guarantee that, because I'm 37. Vic, you said you 43. Chris, I think you're a few years younger than me. We've all seen the
Actually, I'm
death
a
of
few years older than you.
yeah. You the baby. You the baby.
oh, damn.
Yeah, yeah. You the baby.
Chris look young. Oh, okay. Well, I'll take that. But
Yeah,
with our age, we've all seen the death of somebody famous, and it's not natural cause death. It's been the death by them being murdered or drugs or
Yeah, it's
something
been
like
something violent.
that. Yeah,
It's
but
been something violent.
it's escalating. In my opinion, it's escalating. It's not just happening every now and then. We've had multiple. I saw somebody post. They posted a picture, and it was a picture on TikTok, but it was a video. But it talked about the last 4 years, how many people we've lost in the last 4 years, celebrities. And it's, if you think about it, and I did look it up. Young Dolph did die around this time last year. It was November 17th of last year, and it's
Okay.
crazy. Like Chris said, it's they're happening so often that sometimes you forget, okay, it was last year, or it's happening so often that we lose track of when it actually happened. So in my opinion, it's escalating, but we're not making it any better because we celebrate these people, we celebrate the stuff. And like you said, Vic, at some point we gotta make a change and say, okay, it ain't just music. It ain't just music. The diets that we have is not just about what we eat or what we drink. It's also what you put in your mind. It's what you read, social media included. You might not do a whole lot of reading on TikTok, but they have videos that have words on it. So TikTok, social media, all of that is a part of the diet. And if we continue to feed ourselves the negativity, that's all we're going to get is the negativity. At some point, we got to change our diets on everything.
All day. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, it's all about what we consume. Like you said, if you're getting a heavy dose, if you're imbalanced, because I don't want to say heavy dose if you're just imbalanced, because what's what I'm saying, what's a decent dosage for you might be a heavy dosage for somebody else, right? And when you start looking at the cost of a good time, and what the risk of it all is, you just start to look at what you can cut off and what you don't need, and what helps and what doesn't. Like, this is why you gotta look at your life. At least for myself, I look at it in packaged eras. You know what I'm saying? Like, from this 10-year period, this was popular. I participated till I either couldn't benefit from it or didn't understand it, or walked away from it. Right. And in each decade, you make better decisions over a bigger period of time. Right. You stop having less conflicts because you start making the right choices early on. And I start thinking about this, and I think that we're in a toxic relationship with rap music, or the culture of it. I mean, like, we have more to talk about why it's what I'm saying, it's gotten to the point of a discussion. We don't have a solution for it. So why what are we, what I'm saying, what are we investing in? Like, what are we promoting? And if there's a better version of it, what can we do more of to get it out there?
We do kind of have a solution for rap music. We got to stop listening to it as much. I'll say this and this and
yeah. You see, like, it's like, it gets real cringy when you start getting in this territory. You know what I'm saying?
Here's a sad truth that we all. Here's a sad truth that we all got to accept. Our kids are mirror versions of what we show them. So until we make the changes, we can't expect anything else to change. My dad used to tell me something all the time, and I never really understood. He told me this before I got divorced. He told me this before I got married, and I never understood until after I got divorced and realized what he was saying. You cannot expect anything around you to change if you don't change. So the first change has to be with us. If we stop giving attention to things, and I've said this on posts a million times. It's and I hate to bring it up, but it's that the little girl that has become popular, the period I song. I cannot freaking stand it. But I talked to a woman. I think she's a couple of years younger than me. But I talked to a woman, and she made a post about it and wouldn't share it. And they were like, people were asking her what video, and she said in the comments, look it up. And we had a conversation about it because I agreed with her. Until we stop sharing foolishness, we can't expect anything to ever change around us. I stopped sharing fight videos for one simple reason, because I felt like I'm promoting it. When you share something, you promote it. when you listen to rap music around your kids, you're promoting it to your kids because what are they gonna listen to? I grew up around old folks, but I also grew up around older brothers. So I had a combination of old school music and a combination of rap music. What do I listen to now? Old school music and rap music. At some point, we got to change what we do, and it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to be something that's going we make a change today and tomorrow everything's going to be different. No, it's going to take a period of time. But if we start making changes as individuals to stop listening to it, stop giving it attention, stop giving it our money, at some point things will start changing. Look at the rap industry in itself. Over the years, it's just gotten worse. What Vic, y'all's generation of rap music, see, you and my brother the same age. Y'all generation of rap music is totally different than my generation. But I listen
way different.
Way different.
But the crazy thing is, I'll listen to y'all's generation of rap music more than I listen to my own. Now, I'm not going to say that my own generation is bad, because to me, it didn't start getting bad till the 90s. But the 80s and back, I can rock with that. But now it's like, it's just gotten completely out of hand to me. I won't even call what's being played or what's being glorified now rap music, but it's the nonsense that they do now is just, it's like the joke that's being said. Our generation listened to folks that sold drugs. This new generation are the ones that use drugs, and I kind of agree with it, but at the same time, I'm not saying that's good or bad, because I feel like we were both wrong. We were both wrong. But like I said, as individuals, we got to make the change first. If we make the change as individuals first, eventually things around us will start changing.
I agree with that. Like if we were growing up rapping about flowers, most of us be botanists.
Yeah.
And art reflects, environment. And at some point though, when the environment changes you pour back into the environment at some point, if you do it in a healthy way. So, I guess like such a cringy conversation, because you're looking at a major part of how you get your understanding of the world, the street smarts and all that good stuff. You throw in a lot of opportunity at information and understanding away, because it does have value, just like any other thing out there has value, but it has to have tangible, healthy value at this stage in our lives. You know what I'm saying? Because there's so many unhealthy things that are just waiting on you. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know, man. I just think it takes a minute. You know what I'm saying? So, like some people say, it's not the music. We're finna see what's going on here. Let's check out some of the comments and interact with the people that's communicating here.
Yeah, I saw that when I was checking that one out. It is some good music. I say that it is some good music out there, and it's not praised as much as the foolishness is.
And that's the problem.
But
that's the issue.
Here again, going back to what I said, you cannot put it on those that are in power, because we are the ones that are in power. If we stop praising the foolishness, then what choice would they have? See, you gotta be real for a second. It's accountability. What part do I play in? They talked about I can't remember, a few years ago, something going on, but they were saying if we boycotted, it would make a lot of changes. A lot of people agreed, but nobody actually stood with it. It's just like boycotting when gas prices go up. There's always one day in the year that everybody's supposed to boycott gas and they'll change the prices, but nobody ever actually participates. We are the ones that are in power. So you can't say those in power, because you're talking about yourself. We in power.
I agree. The market dictates everything, and there wouldn't be music like this if there wasn't a market for it.
Exactly.
And this is why I always say I don't know, and I don't want to, you know what I'm saying, just blurt things out, because I know people that are in the industry that are putting out really, really good music that has nothing to do with none of the stuff that you see on your television every day, but they don't get the promo for it. Like they really, really don't. the foolishness gets the promo for it because the market is shifted towards the foolishness. Nobody care about 16 real bars no more. You understand what I'm saying? Don't nobody care about that. And I think the bigger issue is BOA beat me to it. We not organized enough. We not organized enough to boycott nothing. Like we're not. So yes, you're right. It does start with us. All y'all know I read Jordan Peterson a lot, and his main message is clean up your room. Because if you can clean your room up, you can clean your house up. And if you can clean your house up, maybe you can go out in the world and clean something else up because you got your house in order. So yeah, it does start with us.
Can I say something real quick on BOA Studios comment?
Yeah, hold on. Let me go. Yeah, go ahead. Everybody can get a chance. I'm just gonna highlight the comments, let y'all run with it.
I want to agree and disagree at the same time on that, and I say I want to agree and disagree for one thing because I'm not going to say we lack the organization. I'll say we lack the unity. We have a lot of organization when it comes to the things that we actually want. There's no unity when it comes to the things that we don't want. We're not unified when we say that we need to make certain changes because everybody's not going to agree with it. But we can be organized as hell when we want to be. So there's organization. There's just not a lot of unity. We don't see eye to eye, and that's one of the biggest problems with people now is we lack the vision to see, okay, if we can agree on this, look at the changes that it can bring about. We can be organized to sit down just like we're doing right now. We can organize a group of people to sit down and talk about this and see what solutions we can come to. But if Chris brings a solution that I don't agree with, then now we're no longer unified. We still organize. It didn't change the organization. We just not unified. Vic brings a solution that Chris don't like, and he's cool with it, but at the same time, it doesn't hit where he wants it to hit. It's not hitting the topics that he wants it to hit, so we're no longer unified. The organization isn't the problem; it's the unity. We're not unified when it comes to making some real changes, as well as accountability. There's no unity when it comes to being accountable. We got to look at the part that we play in all of this as a. I'm not going to say a unit, but we got to look at our part that we play in. It's not, we can't say, we can always say that there's no organization because we don't always see eye to eye, but we have organization when we want to. Somebody say something about a cookout or we fixing to have a party, we organize them motherfucker. But we say something about who house is going to be at. Now it's like, oh, I don't know about that. You can't have it in my house.
What's the motivation for the organization? What's the motivation for the organization? That's the homework. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go on to another question. We're gonna come back to BOA. Hey, shout out to BOA Studios for interacting in the comments. Hey, we're gonna come back to you. Uncle Junior got something for us. Let's see here. What we got? Boom. Is blaming music the same as blaming guns? I got an answer for that. Because this is normally my argument when I say information is like gun control, like the argument of it, right? Let's say so like the popular defense of, or you know what I'm saying, like people of the Second Amendment, they will say guns don't kill people. They say people with guns kill people, or stupid people with guns, or whatever adjective they want to use to describe it, right? Information is the same way too. You know what I'm saying? Like you can go misinform a whole lot of people. Like scammers thrive on misinformation. You know what I'm saying? I think it's I think if you blame music, in principle, yes, it is the same thing. In reality, no, because you didn't know that a gun was part of your anger until you heard the right use of it in a certain cadence, in a certain space or whatever. So it did have some level of influence on what you chose to do with it. Now, I would argue if you got negative influence, you got positive influence, right? And then you got a neutral influence. Like you can be aware of something and still not choose it, you know? There's always less shooters than it is spectators. So like even if you got the the ability to, or the capacity to go out and commit an act of violence. Generally speaking, most people, they hold that in reserve. They don't wake up in the morning looking to go exact violence on somebody as a way of living. In terms of like, nobody generally wakes up and wants to go hurt somebody. I believe a very, very small percentage of people do get up with that motivation daily. But overall, most of us have to be pushed, provoked, and made to do something beyond what we expected ourselves. But everybody's level of provocation is different, and it gets even more itemized when you break down who's in the actual situation, right? So some things are a little bit more heated than others. I don't expect to see somebody that's got beef with Mike Tyson, have the same conversation with somebody that doesn't have beef with Mike Tyson. And that's realistic. I think overall, when you just look at it, it's the responsibility of the user. Because a lot of us can say, yeah, we've been listening to the same music all this time, and I managed to not go out and hurt anybody. You know what I'm saying? I managed not to go get in no situation that I didn't have no accountability. I didn't have enough personal accountability that allowed me to go blame the music that I was listening to. You know what I'm saying? I think it's no different. I used to think it was no different than an R-rated movie, but I think music hits us a little bit different than what's on film. When people hear something, it's a lot different than them seeing it. And then sometimes when they see something, they can either digest something a little bit better or be even more repulsed by it. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that it is, because ultimately it's dangerous. I think if you treat it as such, I think at a minimum, we got to quit acting like it's harmless. That's what I got to say. I think as a step forward, we have to stop pretending that it's not harmless. We have to stop pretending that it doesn't have influence, and we have to stop pretending that it doesn't have long-term, long-range consequence. Like we still talking about rappers being killed. We got another generation of dead rappers. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? To think of, like, we still talking about stop the violence. You know what I'm saying? We done became our own pandemic. We are a self-contained pandemic.
That's why I said what I said. That's why I said what I said about somebody popular got to make it cool for us to care again. Think about if Drake, the Baby, and all of these big hip hop artists did a self-destruction like the Stop the Violence movement did. Think about what that would do. You understand what I'm saying? Think about if they did a We All in the Same Gang like the West Coast rappers did back in the day. Think about how that would move the needle. Maybe that would get the youth to actually start looking at things like, okay, they might be talking about this, but it's getting out of hand now.
Chris, how old are you?
42.
All right, so all three of us remember the DARE program, right?
Yep.
How different would our lives be if Master P or Snoop Dogg or No Limit Records was promoting DARE?
Yeah, big difference. I like that idea. You're right, because that's something that they all would have gotten behind.
Yeah, schools was promoting it, but nobody. I don't remember, me personally, I don't remember anybody famous.
I don't remember a single artist.
No, I don't remember nobody promoting it. I don't remember nobody promoting it. And it just kind of fell by the wayside. Now I did a search because I was messing with one of my partners one day. Because I know he smoked weed, and I sent him the Lion. And I told him, I said, we all failed this nigga, because I mean us to smoke weed. So it's like we've all failed. But at the same time, it's like I think back in, like, nobody famous was actually talking about that. Only in schools that I ever hear about the DARE program.
I don't think nobody liked rap then, though. They definitely wasn't gonna use it unless they could monetize it. You know what I'm saying? And
if you think about NWA, they were trying to get them canceled for a long time because of what they rapped about. But the reality of rap then versus the reality of rap now has changed.
Agreed, because I think a lot of the old school culture from the 90s is not as relevant probably to a lot of the younger generation. Like you can't expect it not to be, you know.
Yeah.
There's a few people that's gonna be there to kind of like be the bridge and kind of cross over and be a custodian of what they saw in that era, but you know, like as being able to translate that completely different. Like all three of us are different ages at different times and different experience. Chris can probably tell me what he experienced growing up in his particular zip code, as can I. But no amount of conversation can prepare me to live the life that Chris has lived, and vice versa. It doesn't matter if he got firsthand experience. So that's the difference between understanding uh, where your resources are and just knowing that all you're supposed to do sometimes is spectate and remain situationally aware, so you know who's in the room. You know what I'm saying? So we don't read the room very well. And what I mean is that
What's crazy, you're right, because we always talking about vibes and all of this other stuff, but we don't know when to leave when we feel that gut feeling that something is
come
about to go
on,
down.
look at this. You see this shirt?
We ignore the hell out of it.
We
when
ignore
it
the hell out of
What
it.
we be
If
talking about?
anything, we wait for it to go down and pull out our
Yeah.
cell phones and wait for
Man,
a fucking viral moment to happen.
bruh.
I'm so sick of that too.
Bro, we've been talking about loosely throwing around how we can interpret the energy in a space of where we are and stuff like that, but we hang around for the negative energy too.
I had this conversation with somebody before about that, and it applies to every aspect of our lives. We ignore signs, we post about the red flags on a regular basis, but we ignore those in relationships, friendships, jobs. We ignore the hell out of shit when we don't need to. Situations where we know is we get that gut feeling like we don't need to be here or this isn't the place for us.
Right.
But because of some, I don't know if it's the social gathering, the attention. I don't know what it is, but for some reason we'll stick around because it's like I want to be there versus do I need to be here. And me personally, I've learned to listen to that, and I ain't trying to blow my own horn or nothing like that. One of the biggest reasons why I stay to myself is because I've learned to start paying attention and acknowledging myself more than I do anybody else or what other people say. If I feel like things aren't going in the direction that I want, I go. If I get in a certain social gathering and things don't feel right, I'm gone. I'm no notification to whoever may have invited me, or if you roll with me, you're gonna know, hey, it's time for me to go. So if you ride with me, you need to come on. But at the same token, if you feel like you want to be here, catch a ride with somebody else. But when I say I'm gone, I'm gone. Because I've learned to pay attention to that. I remember a story my pastor told me, and I'm not a religious person, but he's still my pastor. But I remember a situation where he told me, he's from Birmingham, he told me about a friend of his getting killed that went to a club one night. And it's one of the reasons why he don't like clubbing. He's a heavy preacher, but he's one of those ones that he tells you about his own personal experiences to try to help you see what he's trying to get you to see. But he's one in marriage counseling. Before I got married, I remember him telling me that clubbing is something that he don't agree with. He asked from the jump, was that going to be an issue? And I remember telling him no. But I remember him telling me why it was such an issue for him. And he told me he had a friend that was supposed to have been at home. She was supposed to have been staying in that night. She decided to go out, didn't let anybody know, didn't let her boyfriend know. He gets up to go see her the next morning. Babysitter, whoever kept the baby for her, I think he said her mom. But he remembered getting to the house and nobody knew where she was. Come to find out, she was shot and she was shot and killed the same night she went to the club. Now this was years ago, but like that's one of those situations where I feel like she probably had some sense to say, you need to go home, and she ignored it because
she had a choice.
Yeah, and that's all of us in a lot of situations. Now we've all been in that situation where we had that good feeling like, man, I need to go. And we'd be like, you know what? I'm gonna hang around a few more minutes, and then something happens, or something may not happen. But it's always that afterwards that we'd be like, man, I knew I should have did this. Did you actually know and you ignored it, or are you just saying that because it sounds good to say that? A lot of times we actually know, but it comes with being in tune with yourself as well. If you're not in tune with yourself, you ain't gonna ever get them warnings. I've gotten them warnings several times, and I've learned from my past experiences. When I get them warnings, get my ass up and go. So I get up and go for sure now. Ain't no thinking about it. Ain't no I'm gonna hang around a few more minutes. When I get that feeling, it's time for me to go. I got to go.
Yeah, everybody know I'm quick to leave. I am
Right.
quick to leave. I'm normally in and out when I go out the spots, unless I know I know what it is. Like I know better. Like I know better. And you're right. You're right. We're not stupid. We're not stupid. It's
Can't
but
have it
like I
both
said,
ways.
right. Like we not dumb. And
Yeah.
I don't and this is why I said what I said earlier about not saying that this is normalized, because we're not stupid. Like we know something is wrong. We know it. We see it. But it's like we're waiting until it's like we keep doing what's wrong until doing what's wrong turns up right again. If that makes any sense. That's just what I'm
Yeah.
seeing. And it's like I don't get it, man. I don't get it. But I know we're
Yeah.
not this stupid. I know we're not this stupid. We're not. I don't want to lose that. I don't want to lose faith in my people like that.
Well, hey, I'm asking people to get down in the mud with what's right, what's wrong, what we're doing right, and things of that nature, right? Uh, BOA Studios brought up organization earlier, so I went back to his comment and everything that we're discussing. This is why I wanted to be an open discussion, because I expect the front part of it to be, uh, what we think we know, and but I really want us to focus on what we can understand and control for ourselves individually. You know what I'm saying? So as we talk a little bit more, kind of keep that in mind. You know what I'm saying? So nothing happens without organization, right? So what's your take on what it takes for us to organize from your perspective, just your individual responsibility? Like, what do you think you need to do better to, I guess, create a more organized infrastructure?
Get out of my ego and figure out that I can't do this by myself.
Yeah.
That
How do you
starts
get
that
that? Yeah, that definitely starts the conversation. I'm with
that
you on
starts the
that.
conversation right there. You got to get out of your ego. Nobody has all the answers, and it's going to take a group of us to make this happen. That's where it starts. No, and get out of your ego thinking that you got to be the leader, you got to be the man, you got to be the one, because there might be times where you're not. But your thought process and how you do things is still valuable. You don't need to be in the spotlight. You don't need to be the one that gets all the credit for the change. You just need to be a part of it. Get out of your ego. And I think that's a huge reason why we're seeing what we're seeing now. The moment you see somebody doing something, or you moment you see somebody making a change for the positive to get us out of this rut, somebody tries to tear him down because they don't think he should be the one to do it. They think they should be the one to do it. Get out your ego. This problem is too big for one person. This problem is too big for one person, and it's too big for your individual ego. Get out of it. You don't have
Uncle
you ain't
Junior,
you understand what I'm saying? That's just,
mm,
and
look.
Unc, you right. You right.
So, how do we? What do you think that you could do to establish a unified agenda, or whatever idea you have? I know I got my own. I got my accountable masculinity laws that I operate by. You know what I'm saying? My own four, and I encourage people to have three, at least three. Then you can add more when they become, like, so ingrained in you that you don't think about. Like, it just becomes habit to do three things the right way, and then you add more to it. Um, but this is why I talk about having code so much, because at a minimum, when you have code, you can't be influenced to go do something negative. You're not allowed to overreact because it exposes, you know what I'm saying, your principles for the wrong people and for the wrong reasons. You know what I'm saying? So if I had to uh, um, take my stab at getting people unified, I think it starts here with the conversation. It it filters out, and we figure out who has a better plan, and if that person's plan is better than mine, let me get on board with them. If I have a better plan, how do I get in this person's space so I can present my plan that give other people an option to get on board? Hey, look, by all means, if any of you guys that are watching have an idea that you'd like to discuss, hey, it's, as long as it's solution oriented, we're not here to argue. We're not here to debate. We want to have a dialogue, because every time we have a situation like this, we real tight lip and still be, like emotional. So this is the platform to have a discussion about how do we rebound, because we got to rebound. I'm tired of being resilient. Like, resiliency is necessary, obviously, but ain't you tired of being resilient for the wrong things?
Tired of having to be strong.
Man, you know how much energy is wasted on being resilient for the wrong thing. Like, I get when you have a significant event like a natural disaster or something like that. I got that part. You can't you wake up one day and then your house down a mud, you know what I'm saying, down in a ravine after a mudslide. It's way different than, making an irresponsible decision, or somebody else making an irresponsible decision and hurting somebody else, right? So, like, what do you do? Like life every day is like resiliency training, you know what I'm saying? But how do you turn it over into something else that we can use as a blueprint to get other people that's in our respective networks on the same sheet of music? Because it don't have to be my program. It can be anybody's program.
BOA Studios has a point. I'm gonna say this, and then I gotta hop off. Y'all watch Game of Thrones?
Indubitably.
We need a Jon Snow. No
Okay.
bullshit. We need a Jon Snow. We need somebody who doesn't want the crown, but has all of the skills necessary to make it happen. All through that series, Jon Snow refused to take the leadership position until he was forced into it. And when he was forced into it, they won damn near every battle they fought. We need a Jon Snow.
I've never seen Game of Thrones. It's gonna have to be something that I watch. But I agree. And from what you've said, I agree. We do need somebody that wants it. But the sad thing about that is, how do we find somebody that doesn't want it? Because nowadays the attention is what is the drug.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I hop on a lot of these live streams. I hop on a lot of these, you know what I'm saying, with Uncle Junior, with Vic, with Coach. And I say a lot of stuff. I don't like saying it. I don't want to be the guy to say it, but it has to be said. You understand what I'm saying? We need somebody like that. We need somebody that, I don't want to be on the forefront of nothing, but on the back end, I see what's happening and I can kind of put some things together and figure some shit out on the back end. I'm not saying on a wide scale cultural thing. I don't know anything about what's going on. And to keep it real, I haven't listened to any of, no offense to this dude, but I haven't listened to anything that he's ever put out. I didn't even really know who he was until I saw a live stream earlier about who he was. I don't listen. I'm not mad at the game because it is what it is. And I'm not mad at the radio because I have absolutely no idea what's on it. I don't know. I don't listen to it. But I can understand where everybody is coming from when they talk about what's being pushed out there and what's being said and all of that. So, like I said, man, it's difficult to find that person, and it's going to be difficult for that person to even want it because he don't want it.
Because of something you said, I want to kind of interject on that. We got to change our perspective. Why does it have to be one person? Why can't it be a group of people?
I agree with that. Yeah.
I agree with that too. I agree with that too.
It's like it's I feel like a lot of what we're saying is based off of the conditioning that we have looking for a savior. We're looking for one person when it doesn't have to be one person, it can be a group. Not only that, the other thing that I was gonna say is, Chris, on with you. When the first post that I saw when I got up and got to moving around, I saw somebody say Takeoff was dead, and I didn't know who the hell he was until somebody said Takeoff from the Migos. I don't mean no offense to anybody that loves him, but I've never listened to anything the Migos have made. Didn't know any songs that they made until he passed. He was killed today, but I'm just not a fan. Not no offense to anybody that is. That's your choice. What you listen to is what you listen to, but I've never been a fan. But going back to what you said, I don't think it has to be one person. The problem that we have nowadays is people are too quick to look at the messenger instead of the message. And like I said, I feel like some of it's because of what we've been conditioned to think when it comes to religion. We're looking for a savior when the savior could be all of us. I feel like the more shows like this go on, the more men that we can get to stand up and say those things that we really don't want to say. I'll say this because I'm like you, Chris. I've never been one of the people that wants to have that attention. I don't care
I
about
hate it.
attention.
I hate it. And I hate the fact that it's me. You understand what I'm
Man,
saying? Why does it have to be me?
I
Why
don't
did it take
mind.
me to say something? This should have
I
been
don't.
said 10, 20 years ago. Why me?
Yeah.
Shut up, Jon Snow, or return to the wild. That's all I
Look,
got.
I don't care about getting attention for stuff. The only attention that I want now in my life is for my business. If that means me, then okay. But I want attention towards my business. But I don't care about getting attention. I don't care about getting accolades. I don't care about getting all the praises for something being accomplished. If it's accomplished and it helps everybody, I feel like it's a broad spectrum of who took place in that being accomplished. It wasn't me. Everybody played a part. So if we figured out world peace, and because of this discussion right now, I don't feel like it was my accomplishment, Chris' accomplishment, or Vic's accomplishment. I feel like it was all of us
It
because we
was a
all had to
collection of
do it.
ideas.
Exactly. And that's why I say that we're looking for one when it doesn't have to be one. It can be a group of us. And until we let go of that mindset of it needing to be one person and we start focusing on just trying to find the solutions, that needs to be where the focus is. To hell with who the solutions come from, because like I said, we know when we was growing up in church, because I think all of us probably grew up in church. If it was an older person in the church and they didn't like whoever the preacher was, or they didn't like the assistant minister, we knew that person did not like them. So we got to let go of who's bringing the message and pay attention to the actual message. Don't matter who brings it. If the message is world peace and it works, I don't give a damn if it came from Satan himself. If that's who you believe in, let's accept the message and continue to work.
True.
It's
Fellas,
extreme situations and no deals off the table right now. You know what I'm saying? Because whatever we've been doing hasn't been doing. You know what I'm saying? Like human beings should be doing. And so I don't know what we're doing. My man Rastaman, he got a comment. He says we have to share the blame. Most black people don't buy most of the music. So if we boycott it, it wouldn't change anything. We have to change our communities before the music will change. Absolutely. We have to, we get too wrapped up on repeating canned phrases, or we have. And we've been raised on canned phrases. And one of those is, I'm a product of my environment. Okay. Are you a positive or a negative product of your environment? Does your environment benefit from you? That's a question that everybody needs to ask. How does your environment benefit from you? Because it's a symbiotic relationship. Like if today you woke up, tomorrow you woke up and you open up your front door and outside your door was just decimated, like a post-apocalyptic war had happened, right? That'll be a dramatic change from the day prior when you were sitting outside underneath the sun, sipping your favorite beverage and, maybe scrolling on your thumb or scrolling on your phone with your thumb, and then the next day you don't have no type of internet. That'd be a life altering situation. You know what I'm saying? And so, before I go further, I want Chris to drop us a couple of nuggets. I know he got to make a move. You know what I'm saying? He always in high demand. So go ahead and leave us with something before you get out of here, sir.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Like I said, man, I don't have anything. I sincerely don't. I don't know. I don't know what we need to do as a people to fix this nonsense, but I do know that we need to fix this nonsense. And like I said before, I don't want to be one of these dudes who formulate a pseudo moralistic or a pseudo intellectual stance on a wide scale issue to look good in front of a bunch of people when I don't even have all of the details and I don't know what I'm talking about. And I think that probably could be where it starts. We need to figure out what got us here and start from there, or we can start at the end and figure out what we want and then backstep and break it down, go from where we want to be and then break that down to where we can start to get there, like reverse engineer it. We need to do something, because this, and like I said, I didn't know half. I The only one that I knew that passed that was quote unquote big was Nipsey Hussle. I didn't know anybody that I didn't know Dolph. I didn't know PNB Rock. I didn't know the other boy. I didn't know Takeoff until they mentioned Migos. I don't listen to any of their music, but it sucks that these young rappers are losing their lives over stupidity. And I'm going to say it, this is stupid. And we're not stupid. We're supposed to be the most educated group in the world, but yet we keep losing our youngins to this dumb shit. Let's figure that part out of it. I would love to be a part of the conversation, but I genuinely do not have the solution aside from the rappers that are getting signed to these deals that these executives are giving them, saying no because the executives are the ones that are signing these rappers to push this narrative so that way they can get paid and make some money. Maybe we can start there. Maybe if these rappers started having some sort of integrity about their music and about their people, to actually formulate some music that's going to push us in a different direction, aside from I'm going to do this to your girl, and I'm going to do this to you and your homeboy. When I see him, I'm going to smoke your homeboys, and then I'm going to smoke your homeboys. Maybe we could figure it out like that. But those are just ideas that I'm just pulling out of the sky right now. I genuinely don't know, but I do know that this needs to end, because I'm tired of it. To keep it real, I'm tired of it.
Man, look, you came in one of the first uh, philosophies. You was like, I'm tired of the fight. This is the fight that we gotta have. You know what I'm saying, with our own selves on this side of the discussion. We want to hold anybody else accountable. Got to happen over here too. So, Chris, greatly appreciate you. Look forward to seeing you again. You gonna be on the elevated dialogue tomorrow or not?
I'm gonna try. If I can get through my route, I'll be on there.
Yeah. Hey, if you can't make it on camera, that's cool. Just man, you always come through in the comments, man. We appreciate you.
All right, not a problem, man. Y'all be good. Have a good evening.
All right now. All right. So, anybody else that's tuned in, you want to get a chance to come on the show, you're more than welcome to. I will drop the link in the comments. So if you got to be on camera, and I will verify before we get going. But man, it's such a long discussion, man, about how we fix it. And I definitely think you got to start with something tangible. You got to work with something first. You know what I'm saying? You got to go and establish yourself so you can have some credibility. Because, like you said before, like these guys move in different spaces. Sometimes they want to have a regular day, and a regular day looks way different. You know what I'm saying, from person to person. And like this was a late Monday night going into Tuesday morning, and you wake up. That's the last thing you wake up. This, you know what I'm saying, anticipate. Any rapper, could have been anybody. So after a while, you don't have very many other ways to look at it. You got to get a little bit more creative about how do you solve the problem, because it's not going away. And it's definitely not going to go away with you not doing your part individually for, like taking care of your own household and not fitting your family into a stereotype. But you got to be careful about where you communicate and what you're giving off, because it's really hard to shift when everybody can get into your business and cause you to have to go rebrand because they saw you made one tweet or something like that. And so it's difficult for entertainers probably to trust the public, the fan base, and they just only look at them as numbers. So there's a disconnect, because I feel like we had a better connection with our entertainers at one point, and like now it's all superficial and transactional. Not saying it hadn't always been, but at least there was a different attempt to create that unity that um, was something that could be easily replicated if resourced the right way. And we just got to take a different approach, man. And it's like I always start with like the law of detachment, and I look at this whole thing is, we got a toxic relationship, and denial is what makes the relationship stronger.
Yep.
Because that's how we got here. Like we've had countless discussions about how we realized how the media uh, uh, conglomerate that influences the way we take in information and the programming. And you don't realize how programmed our mainstream media is until you go to another country. Like you'll hear our country's media talk about state ran TV in other countries, but ours is similar. They only feed us stuff that we can fight over, and we cause our own self-inflicted industries.
That's crazy. The media, we don't pay attention, but the media is the exact reason why we don't trust the media.
That's why, like, when people say you got to get off social media, I'm like, well, the news uses social media to communicate too.
Yep.
So you can't blame social media for being social media while using social media.
That programming is way deeper than people are willing to admit. The programming has gone so deep that we'll be the ones to share the screwed up news. Did you
We'll
see?
justify it.
Yeah.
We will justify the existence of it and the method of communication and everything, without saying it directly,
Yep.
but only in the course of us actually just doing it and pretending it doesn't have an impact. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's extremely dangerous. You know, and I say that from a real world application where I've worked overseas in certain capacities. You know what I'm saying, as a contractor, where you see information being employed in certain types of ways to get a reaction. We're gonna bring my man Tony on this thing. Hang on. What's up, sir?
Good, man.
Newly published author. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
appreciate it, man. Just working. I love the conversation, though. I ain't even got my setup, so I had to get on my phone. I ain't even got my computer or nothing, so I was just feeling the conversation, so I was just jumping in the chat, vibing with you.
Word. Well, we gonna catch you up. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, you more than welcome to hang out and jump in when you
Yeah.
feel,
Nah,
feel the need.
I've been listening, man, and a lot of great points made, but I think what we doing, where it seems like it's going, we're focused on the end result and not the cause of it. You know what I'm saying? Like when you asking what can we do? Like that's why I put in the chat. It's like boycotting music. It don't matter. White people buy more music than us, so they buy it because it sounds cool, but it's on our backs because we live it. You know what I'm saying? So if black people stop buying it, it's not going to affect them because we may be 10% of the income anyway. So that's not going to do nothing. But what my problem, I got the CEO Youth League, so I'm on this fight every day, and it has to start. Like I love when you said with the product of our environment, because in my book, my subtitle is "Don't be a product of your environment. Make your environment a product of you." You know what I'm saying? Because, all right, it sounds cool that these dudes need just, I've been having a rap company company. I still got, this is my first business ever when I was 17. So I got a love for the music. Plus I left my mom's house at 11. So I lived the streets. So I understand it. But now I'm on this side and I'm trying to break it down and process it all. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of understand where everybody going, and I understand the dumbness and the madness and all that. But what I would say is, okay, if we go to the hood, you go to the hood right now, like these rich people. I ain't even gonna say no, I ain't gonna say no groups or nothing. You know how that go. But if I'm a rich person, if I'm a rich person and I go to the middle of any project in America and offer this kid $100,000, but you can't be sounding like no Black Panther movement, because there's plenty of rappers that talk about Black excellence, Black power, this and that. They'll never get a big deal. But if you talking about kill a nigga, do that, they gonna get a deal, right? That's how it goes normally, right?
Yep.
So this is why I say we have to change our communities, because though our kids are crashing out because they see, because I see it. I've been in the music game for 20 years. You want to know the two quickest ways to blow up as a Black man in music? Talk about killing other Black men, or throwing a dress.
I'm about to say, put on a dress while doing it.
That's it. If you do those two things, you're gonna blow. You know what I'm saying? Like instantly. So we gotta ask ourselves, like, why is that? It's because it's agenda, right? So that's why I say we gotta start in our communities and build. And that's why CEO Youth League, I don't teach kids, I don't even talk about sports really. We're gonna start a sports league now because I know that's the way to gather kids. But I'm talking about straight finances. And a lot of parents be that, well, that's a little too much for my kid. That's a little too much. That's because we're programming them that all they should know is sports. It's starting off young. When the kid is born, the first thing they get is a football, basketball. You know what I'm saying? I tell people this all the time. We only give Black kids about 5-6 ways to be successful. Sports, football, basketball, go to college, get a good job, go to the Army. That's about it. But it's thousands of ways to make it. So why we only show our kids 5-6 ways?
Some of them ways.
What are you showing the parents of the youth that you're mentoring right now?
I'm putting a mirror in front of them, basically, because that's where it got to start. Like, man, let me break one conversation I had with a parent. And I was telling him, because I could see that he's pushing his daughter sports. And I talked to the daughter. She don't even like sports. But what the problem is, and this is in hundreds of thousands of Black households, a lot of these parents are living through their kids and pushing them into sports. But what they're not saying is, and this is why I started CEO Youth League, because what they're not saying is we got 1,000% of our kids hoping they're gonna make it in sports, right? But all three of us on here, you know what I'm saying, know that only half of 1% gonna make it. So just look what you setting your kid up for. You pushing them nothing but sport. And you know how many kids I meet at 18, 19, confused, can't stand life, depressed, going to drugs, doing all this because they whole life everybody told them they gonna make it in sports. So when real life hit them and they don't make it, they look at me and tell me straight up, I don't have no other plan. I didn't even think about nothing else. I don't have no plan B's. I don't know nothing about no finances. I got to go out here and get a job now. But when I'm at the job, everybody at the job whispering, "Oh man, I thought he was gonna make it in sports. I thought you should have made it. Oh man, you're a failure." That messes with their psyche. You know what I'm saying? So what I was saying is, so what I'm getting at, because I'm gonna throw it back to y'all, is just think about a world like this, bro. Take the CEO Youth League and just think about, it's hundreds of thousands of Black kids that's taught from birth about stocks, that's taught from birth about real estate, that's taught from birth that I can own this store, I can own that from birth. I'm talking about from birth. So if you teach them that from birth and they got them principles from birth, a guy can't come and say, "Man, give me I give you $100,000 for to sign your life away." They so equipped and so know about the money. Not that 100,000 ain't nothing no more.
Ain't nothing.
But the kids that I deal with, no matter what I teach these kids right now, if a guy come and give them $100,000 to be a complete fool, to throw on the dress, to do whatever, they're gonna do whatever, because they don't understand money. All they know is, oh, that's big money right there. You know what I'm saying? And that's why in my program I teach kids how to make money today. Like that painting right there, you know, that painting is a 12-year-old painting right now. I'm showing them how to make money right now because, and the reason I do that in my program is because when I was 11, what captured me, I didn't want to be no street dude. My mama raised me in the church. I don't care. I ain't never tried to be no hard thug gangster. But what happened was my mom divorced my dad. We moved to Mellow Village. I'm the oldest of 4 kids. She at work all the time. So I go outside and there's nothing but dudes on the street corner. And I ain't have no dudes like me to say, you know what? Let me show you about real estate. Let me show you about stocks and bonds. Let me show you about this. They put a pack in my hand. So I ain't even want to be no street dude, but it made sense. My mama worked hard every 2 weeks, getting a little check. I could make that in a day. Like, even if I don't want to be no street dude, I'm gonna do that because it makes sense logically. See, a lot of time we say these kids bad, these kids crazy, these kids this, these kids thinking logic. You telling me to be good, and maybe I can make it to the pros when I'm 18, but I'm 9 years old, starving right now. You know what I'm saying? So logically, even if I want to make it to the pros, this dude on the street corner that's giving me a pack, I'm going to go holler at him tomorrow because my mama need help.
Yeah, survival mode to make you do some things. You know what I'm saying?
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so that's what I'm saying. Like, that's how we break into that, bro. We got to break into the communities and give an understanding about that little check that you just signed your life away ain't no money. We can't say that right now because our kids would laugh at us when we tell them turning that. Like when Master P said, I turned out $1 million and I had $500 in my pocket. That's because he was financially literate. He knew what was up. How many people gonna do that?
Not many.
He done told that story. He done told that story 1,000 times, and there's still people right now will sign their whole life away for that $1 million contract
all day. And $1 million a day ain't even what it used to be. You know what I'm saying? Like
exactly.
Like because money.
Forget the million. They'll sign their whole life away for 100,000.
Bro, they done went back to getting deals again. Like when Jay was saying like we fought to educate y'all so you could avoid getting into these deals. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's another
like
symptom.
I say, there you go. You're going back to the symptom. The symptom is like, you know, I've been doing stuff for kids since I was in the streets when I first started giving back to the kids, right? But what I realized was all I'm doing is having a fun day. Come eat free, get you a backpack, and go to school. I'm not giving them nothing tangible. It made me feel good because I feel like I sent to school. I gave away some backpacks today. I gave away this. I gave away that. But when you go home to when they go home with that backpack, they starving. Mom or dad ain't there. Drugs in the household. This, that, and the third. Society's messing with their head. They go to school. The lady is an older white lady that don't understand them, so they tell them they dumb, they stupid. So a kid is processing this like what am I supposed to be doing here?
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? So to me it goes us going back into our community, but it takes us. It don't take the government. It don't, like in my book, you know, not you know what I'm saying, in my book, The Streets Live.
Go ahead, plug the book.
The reason I wrote that, and the book ain't out yet. It's on Kindle right now. This week I'll be getting the release dates for the ebook and the paperback. So it's a slow roll out. But the first thing I started talking about, because I like to hold ourselves accountable. You know, when we talk about black men, I talk about what we supposed to do in our community, not asking no permission, not asking our wife for permission, our girlfriend, not asking a white man for permission. What we got to do, regardless if it's somebody tell us we can or can't, what we got to do, right? So in my book, I start out by saying, even though all this stuff set up systematically, it's all set up. They set up this maze for us, right? We still got to come together and figure it out. We can't complain about it or use it as an excuse forever. But it is real. They did set it up like that.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a business, then it has an architecture. Yeah, it's routed to their benefit. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody's gonna give you an opportunity to make some money for them.
Yeah.
All day, like it's free advertising.
Music is a $1 billion industry, and the artists make what? They said 9% of that.
Yeah,
with no ownership. Michael Jackson right now, he got white people fighting over his money, bro. Like all that wealth he built, and it's white people fighting over that money. Prince right now, Prince didn't have his trust and stuff together. White people gonna get that money, and it ain't, you know what I'm saying. And I ain't even talking about white is in the color. I'm talking about the system. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the structure. The whole
I'm
structure of
talking
it.
about a lot of people think I'm not talking about no specific one person. I'm talking about the structural system that's set up. They gonna get all that money, but it's set up for them to get it because even the ones that make it in our culture don't understand about trust, don't understand about passing down generational wealth. All they understand is I got the bag. When I die, maybe my kid might get a little something, but then it ends because the system gonna figure out a way how to finesse it back out of them before it's a wrap.
That's why I got into what I got into. That's why I got into financial services, trying to teach people that. But I'll say this: the the biggest issue that we run into when it comes to sitting down with people and explaining how financial services work or how money actually works is people thinking that they already know. You've got a lot of misinformation out there and people following that misinformation because they feel like, okay, well, this looks like it works. But this is what I do. I actually just had a conversation with a guy that he was offering to do an appointment with me to try to explain to me how a life insurance policy works, and I know how all of that stuff works because I'm licensed to sell it. But this is something that we try to teach people, and it's hard teaching Black people because we don't want to listen because we've been conditioned to think a certain way, but not just that. Traditions. I made a post a long time ago. I ain't gonna say a long time ago, maybe a year or two ago, that talked about traditions are the biggest killer of the future, and I say that simply because we still trying to follow traditions that ain't work. I pose a question on a regular basis, and I'm gonna get back to doing it. I really haven't been on social media for real, but it's something that I need to start doing. I posed a question once before that said, how many people do you know that have retired and are living the life that you actually want to live? Not too many people can say that I know somebody that's living the life that I want to live. And I don't mean they rich or they got $1 million and they traveling the world. I mean, how many people do you actually know that's living the type of life that you want to live? It's a simple question, but a lot of people can't answer that truthfully because they don't know anybody that's living the life that they want to live. They're modeling their lives after famous people, hoping that they reach those goals. The problem with that is this: you can't live somebody else's life. I don't give a damn if I give you their money. You're still not going to be able to live somebody else's life. You're not going to be able to live like another person. You can only Vic always said, and I used to laugh at it when I first saw it, but now it's a statement that I live by. You can only afford the relationships that you can afford, and that ain't got shit to do with money. You can only afford what you can afford, and that ain't money. That's real. That's one of the realest statements that I've ever seen. But when it comes to learning this, people don't want to learn it. They feel like they know stuff. Especially when it comes to Black folks. We feel like we know something just because, well, such and such doing this, and that's what I'm gonna do. It works for me. But how many people did it work for before?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like generational wealth, that's a huge conversation that people need to have. But the problem is people don't know where to start.
Man, they skip past the group economics first. They don't even talk about that for real. But I want us to keep it.
They don't talk about it because they don't know nothing about it.
They don't talk about it because they don't know anything about exactly. And that's why, like, when you start talking about trying to solve these problems, right, with the connection between reality and entertainment, until you start practicing group economics, like the people that control the market that benefit off of our entertainment value, if we haven't learned how to reverse engineer that for ourselves, then we will always have moments like this. So I want to say that before we got ready to wrap up. Gentlemen, I greatly appreciate you guys dedicate some time. We'll have an extended conversation after we get off this platform. To everybody else that took the time to come contribute to the comments, just watch. Hopefully we gave you something to consider in your own conversations as you go forward, because these events, when they take place, they're still traumatic. You know what I'm saying? And they take up a lot of time. They set us back. If they take up time, they set us back. And we have to actually accept that in a different type of way, because we've been repeating the same thing and still asking people to get the lessons from Biggie and Pac, and that's not working. You know what I'm saying? So we have to assess our toxic relationship with, the culture, some of the activities associated, the behavior. And most importantly, I don't care what it is you do, get up and own your narrative about it. Be able to live in what you're prepared to defend, and make sure your community benefits from what it is that you carry with you as part of your personal code. So with that being said, John and Tony, I really appreciate y'all. I see you backstage. Everybody else, tomorrow tune in to Elevated Dialogue on the Uncle Junior Network. I will be posting links later on. What's up? What's up?
What's the name of that book so I can check that out too?
Oh, you talking about from Tony or my book?
You already know I got both your books.
Oh yeah, we still gonna put it up here though. We still gonna put it up here.
I got both your books.
We still gonna put it up here. I thought that's what you was asking for a split second. You know what I'm saying?
I got the code when you first put it out on Amazon. I already got that. And I got the other one on whatever that app is. I got it on there. I got both of yours already. I want to know what Tony's is.
Yeah. Tony got the streets lied to us. I'm gonna put his link up. Hold up.
Yeah, the streets lied to us. It's on Amazon Kindle right now, and it'll be on ebook and paperback in about the next couple of weeks, I think. But right now, you can go to Amazon Kindle and type in the streets live to us. It'll pop
that right there?
That's it right there. Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that.
Yeah, I'm about to put the link in the comments so everybody else can see it too.
You should see it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But one more thing before we get out of here.
Oh, struggle streaming.
Because this is what I'm gonna be talking about on my podcast probably tomorrow.
Hey,
because
Tony,
this is what
Tony, you struggle streaming right now.
I don't want to.
Hey, you struggle streaming right now, sir. We want to get you called back up because I think the signal was failing you. Now I know.
Yes, sir. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
But one last go. I want us to have the energy, because I was going back and not back.
Oh man. Well, the struggle stream has ended. We will get Tony back up here, and we'll pick up the discussion. He's around. He ain't hard to get in contact with. Hey, John, man, I appreciate you.
No problem. I appreciate this platform.
Absolutely, man. I salute you. Appreciate you.